This is Stars and Scopes with your pal Uma Ruby. Updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, do listen to your rising sign first if you know it, but do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're loving this work and you've got some coins to spare, throw them in the tin over at buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby and you can buy me a coffee. Okay, let's drop into it. Hello Aquarius and Aquarius rising, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon happening in Sagittarius on the 14th of June at 9:52 p.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. Welcome to your reading. So this full moon is in your 11th house of the greater community, the idea of what humanity is, what the larger space that we all move through means, and what is the purpose of that, if that makes any sense. I think it does, because Aquarius, that's your house. You know about the greater collective, you know about zooming out, you know about sort of looking at something as a whole rather than the pieces involved. That's kind of the Sagittarian ethos, is to be forthright and wanting to learn and charging ahead and kind of absorbing lots of different information, sort of, honoring ancestors and thanking them for what they can teach us. So that's really, that's you when it comes to the community, Aquarius. You've got everyone else's needs sort of checked and looked at in a grand sense, in a sense of our species rather than maybe the individuals. So when it comes to a full moon, it's a great time, as you know, to let go of what doesn't need to be there anymore in terms of that's part of your life, or celebrate in what you've achieved in that sense. So it's going to be a really lovely, bright, beautiful moon, the first one that we've had since eclipse season, where we don't have to sort of, worry about what's going on around us or fear fear the karmic retribution of the universe. I'm kidding, but you understand what I mean. This full moon is not without its challenges. So like the last, I don't know how many lunations there have been, there seems to be this difficult T-square again, which is challenging energy. When we have a T-square, we have three planets. In this case, we've got the sun and the moon. So the sun's shining back to the moon, all the lovely light. We get to give back to Luna what we don't need anymore. It's a beautiful party. Some people get naked in some cultures. It's gorge. Maybe not in this weather. Anyhow, a T-square is a third player. There's a trifecta going on here, and there's maybe like a fight for righteousness in some way. This time, the lunation is in T-square with Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune is the planet of illusion, of magic, of kind of, it was, to give you some backstory, it was discovered, I think in I can't remember the exact date, but 1850 something. And the discovery of Neptune was also coinciding with a brilliant time of kind of mind expansion and spiritualism, I think it was called back in the day. There was a lot of shysters involved in that. There was a lot of like magic. So if you can kind of think about the tentative ground that we all trace when we're learning about astrology as a form of healing, it does have that sort of lower vibrational aspect of someone pulling the wool over your eyes, doing some tricks, a shyster. So in that way, that's the lower vibration of Neptune, and that's what potentially could come about here in this T-square. When there's a T-square, it's the central planet that is the one giving the influence and, causing the ruckus. So I've got some tarot cards here that I wanted to show you. So the moon is at 23 degrees of Sag, which is the 10 of Wands, which is a card of exhaustion. It's a card of kind of the weight being almost too much to bear. So if there's something around your sense of community, your sense of your place in that, if you're fed up with the word community, if you're fed up with always fighting or talking for the community, that's okay. This lunation's happening here at the 10 of Wands to sort of aid you in that kind of like, oh, you know what, just forget it, that kind of sentiment in some way. You don't have to feel like you're a pessimist. It's really normal. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on in the 3D world that's probably aiding that sort of difficulty. The sun is at 23 degrees of Gemini, which is the 10 of Swords. This is one of the more difficult cards in the tarot. It's really an absolute feeling of defeat. It's a mental card. It's, you know, it's air, like you, Aquarius. So it is about sort of too many conflicting thoughts reaching a crescendo where you feel just completely obliterated by the many truths. Difficult energy to work with. The sun's there, so it's warming it up, so that's okay. Like when I think of the 10 of Swords, I always think of the sun rising in the background of some of the illustrations. There is a beautiful sun coming up. So it's one beautiful woman that I've learned a lot from in tarot always says the 10 of Swords is the card that you can say to yourself, no more pain will come from this. So as far as something difficult, we're about to hit a clearing, we're about to move through, and this lunation, with the luna's help, will be a great way to like urge it on. The other tarot card is the 10 of Cups. So this is where Neptune is right now. Now normally this card is beautiful, bountiful, romantic, happy ever after kind of story. The 10 of Cups is like complete emotional fulfillment, whatever that means, you know, in cycles. Everything's in cycles. But it's kind of reaching a point. I think in one of the illustrations there's a rainbow, there's like little children playing. It's beautiful, heart-centered. Oh gosh, isn't life and love just so wonderful? So what's the illusion there? What delusion is working in that space that may be affecting this sense of community? What can you let go of to the moon that incorporates some of these themes here? A couple of things to remember is that the moon and the sun, difficult as they might be having it with Neptune, they've actually both got some really positive energy as well. The moon is in positive, supportive aspect with Mars in Aries, so fire, if you think of it that way. A trine is like fire energies working together. And Mars is, you know, we talked about Mars in Aries last time, but Mars couldn't be happier in Aries. They're thrilled. So there's that sort of like push to sort of like get things done, to sort of move ahead, to start to strike the match in some way. And the sun is in a positive, supportive aspect with Saturn in your sign, in your first house. So Saturn is the planet of rules and restriction, the guide, the logbook, the instruction manual in a lot of ways, in that higher vibration. So there's a sense of you knowing what is going to happen and what the right thing to do is and how to go about whatever difficulty may be sort of brewing up around you in community, particularly for this lunation. So this is your chance to sort of actively work with this energy, think about these things, and then with a push, shove it back to the moon. So I wonder what is happening in community for you. I know that it's a word often used these days. It's sort of, there's a community for everything, particularly on YouTube, which is, oh, I didn't tell you at the beginning. This is a podcast, but it's also a YouTube video this time. I've been a show off and I've dolled up for Pride Month and I look gorge, and you can watch me give this reading if you wanted to. Just a little caveat. Anyway, but that word community, it's even kind of sticks in the mouth sometimes. It's sort of like there's the beauty community, there's this community, that community, the other community. A lot of communities, but what happens when community is not communal? What happens when there's not enough thought for the greater collective, the community? This is on the top of your head at all times, Aquarius. That's how you operate. That's what you think about mostly. And you're an air sign, so that's your thought. That's your brain working. So, and to be ruled by Sagittarius for you goes to show why you're so strident with it and why you're willing to learn and why it's a passion. It's a great passion for you, this sentiment. So think about all of those things, crystallize them, and for yourself, in your experience at this lunation, at the full moon, let some of that go. This is your beautiful chance to co-create with Spirit, Mother Earth, God, whatever you like to say, and to let some of that go if you need to. So that's the planets. That's the tarot as I show, you know, that's how the Golden Dawn sort of wrote it, that each tarot card has an allocation to a bit of the zodiac. So it's really nice to sort of, in some ways, when feeling these lot of 10 energy, 10 of swords, 10 of wands, feeling a bit exhausted by it all, it's nice to sort of look back and go, oh, look, there's the manual there. I'll just pull out this card. So I'm going to do a little intuitive reading as well, like I did for the other podcast, the other horoscopes, but I'll do it live this time. Well, I sort of did them live, but I pre-pulled the cards, I guess, when I was recording the horoscopes, but you get to watch this time. So I have for you the Eight of Swords. Very interesting. This is Gemini energy. I think we spoke about the Eight of Swords last fortnight. So there's still that mental cage. There's still something going on here for you that you feel a bit bound by. But I think that this truth is, oop, that one wants to come out. Four of Pentacles, right there. And one more. Oh, Queen of Cups. Lovely, lovely. Okay, this is what we can work with. This is what we can work with. And in some ways, let's kind of maybe think about the delusion, the illusion that we were sort of talking about. Think about this in regard to the Queen of Cups is a beautiful supportive energy. There might be someone in your periphery that you can really go to for emotional guidance that maybe sometimes is maybe a little out of reach for you, Aquarius. Doesn't know, you know, we've all got the 12 signs in our houses, so we're all capable of everything. We're all incapable of embodying every different sign. That's what's so beautiful about it and unifying. But sometimes Aquarius can be so in the air, in the thought, in the analytics of everything, that they do sometimes have difficulty expressing what's going on in the heart, what's going on in the emotional body. They feel it just as much as anybody, but as far as articulating, maybe a little bit more difficult. So there's someone in your space, in your periphery right now, who is at the ready and capable and ready to talk to you about how you've been feeling. This Ten of Swords energy, the end is hard stuff sometimes to work with. So there's some, look out for who it is, who represents that queen for you, who is that person that is so emotionally adept and empathetic and will listen to your, you know, you can call them at any hour and they'll be there on the other end of the phone listening to what it is that you need to say. Who is that for you, and how can they help you through this Eight of Swords cage that you may have been feeling since the last new moon? And the Four of Pentacles is kind of, it's a resistance in a lot of ways. It's kind of holding on to what it is that you have, material or otherwise. But in this reading, I think it's got something to do with you're cool. You're about to bubble over, Aquarius, and that's okay. Use the moon to do that. And allow this queen, this queen of empathy, allow her to help you bear some of that load. You don't have to do everything alone, Aquarius. You really don't. That's really pertinent here in this reading. At the Sagittarius full moon, you know, look at the wide, you know, zoom out the lens, of course, but take some time for yourself as well. That's what the moons are for. The moons are for our emotional bodies. So maybe this Queen of Cups is the moon. If you've got no one that you feel like talking to, talk to Luna. She'll sort you out. One more thing I wanted to say before I go is that in the major arcana, the major secrets of the tarot, the Sagittarius card is Temperance, which talks about balance between, in this image, it's between Capricorn and Scorpio. So two headstrong energies that sometimes butt heads. Sagittarius is the mediator. Sagittarius is also the mediator between fire and water, between passion and between drive, and between our emotional self, our feelings, our connection to the moon. Our Temperance, our connection between the sun and the moon is what this card represents. So keep that in mind as you're moving through this stuff, and whatever it is that you need to let go of in terms of the community, do so and know that you've got support in this. I'm going to leave this here. I think that was a nice little reading. Do let me know how you liked to look at me, and if I have to turn a look every horoscope, then I'll do it. Yeah, well, it's Pride Month, but you know, I think we should be proud of ourselves forevermore. Much love to you. Full moon blessings. If you'd like to head over to my website, I've just put up a whole roster of specific readings that I've been working on for the last couple of months. I'm really looking forward to sharing them and to sort of working with the tarot and astrology in my readings one-on-one from now on. It's incredible. It blows my mind. Just the synchronicities are all there, and all we have to do is look for them. Much love. If you wanted to give me a little tip, you're more than welcome to. As always, buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby is the place to do it. Other than that, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Cancer. Cancer, emotions. Wonder what's going to happen. We shall see. Much love. Take care.